Welcome to this month's episode of Behind the Smile. I am Sadie. I'm an account manager at SmileShop, and I am joined here today with Risio Institute. I'll have you introduce yourselves.
Thank you. My name is Carey-Ann, and I am a co-founder of Risio Institute.
Thanks for having us. I am Casey Sharp, co-founder of Risio Institute.
So what we want to talk about today is kind of the state of the union and the overall hiring crisis that the dental industry is facing today. And I wanted to get your perspective and hear a little bit about what you guys do and just hear why it is you think that a lot of practices are suffering from a hiring crisis.
Yeah, I think the main reason that people are suffering, and we hear it across Canada today, is first of all, there's not enough people going into the industry like there was a few years back. And I think there's a lot of people retiring out of the industry. We saw a lot of that during COVID, where a lot of moms left during COVID to homeschool and didn't go back to work. And the industry just hasn't picked up since then.
Yeah, I'd say there's lots of growth happening within the industry, lots of new practices. And as Carrie mentioned, we hear that daily, that is the number one factor that's holding practices back from growth is their team. So they just need more resources and more people to be able to see more patients and grow their practice.
It's so interesting because obviously with our clients, we hear that as well. You know, that can hinder a lot of, big picture goals if you don't have the right team or things change inevitably. What has been your experience in the dental industry?
Mine specifically, I think you're right, being a part of a team and being able to grow that team and have someone that stays long term, that's probably one of the biggest challenges for offices. So when we see new dental offices, one on every corner, the challenge is how do you keep that team there and how do you keep that family unit together with everyone and not have them leave your practice for that new shiny thing across the street or $1 more an hour.
It was interesting. I saw this advertisement that was kind of talking about, start a dental career with dental assisting or dental hygienist. And I just clicked on the comments and I was reading those, and the perception that I got from that viewpoint was very negative. It was, don't consider this, very against it, almost talking about a lot of burnout, a lot of long hours, some people feeling underpaid or underappreciated. What has been kind of your perception, and do you feel that's the reality?
Yeah, we hear that as well. It hurts my heart to hear that because I love this profession and there's so many different opportunities that are in dental, and I would love to see a little bit of the focus changing from the shortages and that being the driver to, again, just remembering the community and all of the really great things that dental assisting and all the other dental professions bring. So for Carrie and I, we've had an amazing career in this profession. We met over 24 years ago during my first dental assisting position, actually on my practicum. And we actually still keep in touch with a lot of the friends and colleagues that we met at that first job. And so I really would like to see a shift in that narrative, to be able to go back to telling people that might be interested in the profession all these really, really great things, these opportunities, the flexibility, the rewarding nature of the career. So I'd say that that's really important for us to focus on.
If you were talking with someone that was on the verge and considering a career in dental, what would you speak to about the rewards and kind of the best parts of the job?
I think I would tell them about the flexibility, the teamwork, being a part of the healthcare system, and the empathy and nurturing of patients, and that you get to go home every day knowing that you've got a rewarding career and you've potentially changed someone's life or outcome of their oral health.
You're helping people smile more, essentially. That's going to be such a great takeaway. And if you find, the right team with the same core values, I'm sure I've seen it too, where it can be absolutely rewarding. So how does Risio Institute come into play here? What is it you guys are focused on?
We focus on creating access to education. So with our program, our model is quite unique in that all of the theory is delivered online and students only have to come to Calgary for 2 short clinicals. So we built this because we wanted to be able to have that access for people that lived in little rural communities, moms and dads that were already established and couldn't get back to a larger city to go to school. So we focus on being able to give them an opportunity that they wouldn't have otherwise had.
Part of the kind of gap in dental practices needing to find someone could be that there are the right people that want to grow their career, but they may be in a position where they want to leave their families or they're not able to actually excel their career. So that's where you guys come in and you actually give them opportunities to kind of learn and grow their careers without disrupting their lives. What has been some of the best success stories that you've seen happen?
Oh man, we have them all the time. And I think the one that really sticks with me is one of our very first students, that very first cohort in January of 2020. And she's from Saskatchewan and wrote to us and just shared that she would never be able to do a career in dental otherwise. So she had commitments where she wasn't able to move away to a larger city to be able to go to school, and she thought it was out of her reach. It wasn't even attainable for her. And without a program like ours, she wouldn't have been able to accelerate her career. And she's gone on to do really great things.
Oh, that's amazing. And I'm sure with the students they learn alongside with, there's that community element that you were talking about where you get to learn and grow with alongside people in similar positions. That's amazing. What is one piece of advice you would have for dental practices that are facing kind of hiring restraints right now?
I think to be really open to embracing the mentorship side of taking on a student and supporting them through their education journey. It makes a big difference. And again, highlighting the community and going back to the basics where the dental industry, when I started, was such a welcoming, supportive place to be. And I've touched on it already, but I've formed these friendships early in my career that have lasted the entire time. And when we go to conferences, it's like a big family reunion. And so I think that some of that has gotten lost over the last few years in the messaging. It's really about supporting each other, and your staff and your team will stay. And I think that's a really easy way to help with retention and growing your practice.
I love that. So you can kind of proactively convince people that, hey, you know what, this is a really fulfilling career and industry. There's so much community in it. You get to literally make people smile more. And once you're in the dental industry, as we know, I've been to conferences with you guys as well, it is a close-knit industry.
Yeah, and I also want to talk about just the diversity in the role itself. Like that's it's such a great selling feature of the dental assisting role, is that it's not the same every day, and there's so much variety, and there's so many opportunities and so many doors that can open once you become certified or registered. And there's just so much opportunity here. So I think that for us, when we look at the work integrated learning component, where students are basically doing like apprenticeship style learning. So they can see in real life the procedures that they're learning in the textbook. So for us, a really great fit is an office that's supportive and gives the students opportunities to see those procedures and opportunities to ask questions. So I think that, my question for you is just, what do you think would make a really great office that's going to be supportive of a student?
Yeah, that's a good question. It kind of comes down to a couple of things, really honing in onto what are the core values, and to create that community feel within your practice, you have to know what type of personality you're wanting to attract, what are your patients going to enjoy talking with. And so when you're looking at your online presence, I think this is one element that's missed is, of course, your website and social media can be catered to attracting the right patients. But if you're dealing with a hiring crisis, that's the best opportunity to also speak to acquiring the right team. And how you can do that is, whatever you're proud of, whatever you feel are the reasons that someone should work at your practice, kind of speak to the proof of that. So if you do feel you already have that great team, showcase what is it like to go out for lunches and what do you do for team bonding events. And if you feel it's an opportunity to grow your career and be open-minded and have a team that can inspire you and be alongside you in your journey, what are you investing into your team? Is it books that you read together, courses you go to? Just capture all of that. If you look at any practice website and you ask yourself, would I want to work here? That's kind of the takeaway of what your online presence should acquire or should kind of give out in addition to patients.
Yeah, I can see that being really important, and finding the good fit for with a team member is so important. Like, there's many times we get asked, we want qualified staff member today, and we're like, we can help you get that person qualified. That's what Risio does, but you actually need to find someone that's a really good fit. And so, in choosing, someone that's has good work ethic, good personality, someone that you can be with every single day, that's going to really make the difference on whether your team is going to stay with you a long time and be a cohesive and consistent presence for patients. They like to see the same healthcare providers over and over again. So if you can, find that right fit, we can worry about the skills and the training and the education, but the office, now has that opportunity just to hire on personality.
And be authentic. I'm always a big push for that, whether it's attracting the patients or the right staff. Like, if there's, music that your team listens to every day, it can be those little things, or what coffees do you have, or, where do you go for lunches? Like, anything that's relatable, that's gonna, be more approachable to especially someone who's a new grad is probably feeling a lot of intimidation on joining a new team, and as well, like, what am I up against here? What am I gonna be graded on?
And we see students of all ages, all backgrounds, second careers, we see, a wide variety of uniqueness amongst our student body, and there's an office for every one of them. So I love that you said to highlight the uniqueness of an office, because then you match the right team members and you find that you have this really great team.
Do you find people move around a lot? Like, should they be open-minded to finding career opportunities and where they want to live, or finding the opportunities first and then building a life around that?
In our program, I don't find that they move around a lot, but I would say that dentists should be open to finding someone within their community and then hiring for that fit. So if you find someone that has a really great personality and maybe they're a barista or maybe they're working in retail, find that person that's in that community that wants to stay. Perhaps they're a patient or one of your patient's children coming up out of high school. There's so many really good opportunities out there for people that want to stay in that community. They just have to find them.
That's a really good piece of advice, is don't forget about people that may have not yet considered a career in dental, and you can be the practice that has inspired them to switch careers into it.
Yeah, we find that practices really need to be long-term thinkers, less reactive and short-sighted when they need somebody right away, and maybe they're hiring out of necessity, whereas if you can think, a year down the road, you can actually have somebody going through a program and they're working with you and they're learning all of the practices, nuances, and the culture, and they're actually building on those skills quite slowly as you're going through the program, and you're building on the skills as opposed to just overwhelming somebody new right off the bat. It's been working really well for both the students and the dentists, because they find that it's just such a nice gradual upskilling of an employee that they've already found is a good fit for their team. So I think that piece is really important.
And I'm sure dentists too, the biggest fear would be, what I can't make a decision that's going to negatively impact the patient experience. But to your point, if you have someone that's eager, happy to be there, gets along with the team, I mean, when you walk into a dental practice, you immediately feel the difference of a staff that's getting along and is wanting to be there and making the patient's journey so much better. So I think with the right patients, I agree. I think, finding that someone that's eager to be there is very important. Do you have an example of a practice that is very proactive with this in their hiring strategies?
We do. We have an office in Northern Alberta that has put through more than 12 students in our program so far. So they are always future planning. They're always putting someone from the practice into the program so that they always have that funnel, that stream of a dental assistant in that 21-month time frame from start to graduation. So we've got offices that have seen the success of Risio and have long-term employees, and they continue to believe in it and always have someone waiting to put through.
And Sadie, so we often have practices that want to take a student and mentor them. And we have students that apply that don't have any dental background and they want to start in a dental office. Do you know of ways that a dental practice can really stand out to those students and how they can put themselves in a position where a student might choose that office to work in and stay in?
That's such a good question, and definitely it's so interesting how it mirrors a lot of marketing strategies on attracting patients. So if there is, think about testimonials is brought up in a lot of ways with Google reviews to attract patients. Well, if you are so confident that this is the right team to join you, how can you kind of tell the stories of what is it like to be a part of the team? And also really know the generation of, who's next to become dental assistants or dental hygienists. What are they valuing? That is something that's so overlooked sometimes. So are they parents? Do they need a flexible lifestyle? Is that buzzword going to resonate with them? Or do they value, staying close to home? Do they value health and wellness? Like, what benefits do you have? So really think about their day-to-day life and speak to, in addition to the day-to-day and the environment you're going to work on, what are the benefits of choosing them? That can be a really good way to stand out.
I think one thing that I've noticed as well in the industry is that what we did when we were hired 20 some years ago in this industry is not what the newer generations want. So when we look at the hours of work, the flexibility, working perhaps shorter hours, or having that work-life balance, it's so different with the new generation today. And where we come from a generation of being a workhorse, the newer generation isn't like that, and they really do value that time with their friends or outside of that work environment. So while they might think a career is important, it's a different mind shift from what we did when we were younger. And dentists have to get on board with that because that's the generation that's coming out.
Absolutely. And I would also encourage them, similar to what I did, where I was looking straight on at the negative implications or the negative mindsets of why someone's not choosing this career and getting ahead of that. So if burnout is a buzzword, okay, how are you going against that, and how are you ensuring that the new team members are not going to be burnt out? Because you're exactly right. There is different mindsets and different hesitations that they've seen the previous generation go through. But I think to your point, and I love your mentality with it, is that it can be done. We can make the environment a good career again and a positive mindset to consider. It's just about attracting the right people and kind of creating that community of core values.
As dental assistants, we work really hard in the office. I would say that dental assistants are the backbone of a practice, and ultimately they just want to be appreciated for all that hard work and not go unnoticed. So I think it's a really easy way for practices to differentiate themselves if they can show either on their website or with their branding or presence, or just in person, that is a core value of that office, it's going to go a really long way of keeping staff and gaining the right ones.
And for the practices that maybe they're coming out of a chapter where they've had so much staff turnover, they really do care about those elements and want their staff to feel appreciated and have that community, but maybe they've had such a turnover, it's just not where it used to be. It's okay to rebuild. It's okay to take a second and reevaluate how you're giving appreciation. What core values do you stand for today that may have shifted, now that you have a new generation in? So also to the practice owners, I would encourage them to reach out to, either institutes like yourselves or agencies like us that just have a more of a framework to structure that. And it's always okay to reset and just do what you need to do to attract that talent.
Yeah, I think the industry, the profession as a whole needs like a global reset. Yeah. I think that we need more stories about all the good things that dental assistants can do and do in a practice, and like the variety and, like I say, the opportunity and those connections that you make. Like, you actually don't get this in every career. So we're lucky. I'm very thankful that I started when I did and had the opportunity to be in private practice, in clinical facilitation, theoretical teaching, and now in higher education. It is such a gift. And, I'm so grateful for the profession and also the support that I received in my first practicum and first job. I've mentioned it a couple of times. That's where Carey and I met in Banff in 2002. And I don't know that my career would have been the same if I didn't have that start. And the people that were surrounded me and supported me and lifted me up, and the patience of the team and the dentist and all of that was such a foundation for my own career that I think offices forget sometimes that they're actually giving this gift to their employees. So if they can go back to that foundation and recognize that they play a really big part in the lifespan of this person's career, that might give them a shift in perspective.
And as we know, dentistry is heading to such a cool place with advancements in technologies, bringing in the next generation that has a total different set of values that's making everything change. And the overall patient experience has changed. And I think absolutely the whole experience on a career in dentistry is going to change too, for the better. So at Risio Institute, you've been able to play a huge role in the Canadian dental career market and creating more open doorways, especially for those that have some hindrance to why they can excel in this. So what's next for Risio?
So what's next is something really exciting. So we too have had to just reframe how we think about education and look at that newer generation and technology and what they're used to seeing coming out of high school. And so we are developing a very unique training program that will be launched in a specific province in Canada very shortly. And it will be a fully digital program. So virtual evaluation and virtual instruction, and we're really excited about it. So we too had to have that mind shift of how can we do education different, and how can we help other people see on the regulatory side that can actually work. And I think that we're trailblazers, and we want to be able to provide that access. So we'll continue to find ways to do it in a better format. And I think that we're almost there, and we're really excited to share that, and it should be fairly soon.
Well, I really enjoyed this discussion. To kind of wrap up, what are you hoping to see out of the dental industry in the future when it comes to a career in dental?
Well, I think that we can both agree that we want to see more people in the industry, loving it the way we did back when we started and the way we still do today. Love to see the younger generation come out of high school and embark on this career, and then people that are already established looking for a career change, understanding how great this is
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like, it's not about getting just more people into the industry. It's making the profession an environment that people aspire to be a part of. So really kind of changing that narrative, and that's going to attract the right people to the profession. Yeah, just asking offices to really be thinking in the future and planning now for potential changes in their team members down the road. You can really get things in place now to kind of de-risk your practice later down the road. Really embracing mentorship and supporting students as they start out. Everyone has to start somewhere. So we know that offices are needing more team members. What can they do to attract the right person?
Definitely be proactive. So it's okay if you've had staff turnover, but what are you doing about it going forward? Take an honest look. What makes your practice and working at your practice so great, and how can you effectively highlight that? Ask your team members as well, what from their perspective. Be authentic and be louder about what makes you unique. I think that's a big one. And it's never too early to totally rebuild. So like any house renovation, if you need to repaint, do some things different, study the generation that's coming. They're going to be eager, but they're going to have different values. So make sure that your practice is still ready for that environment. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Behind the Smile. Thank you as well to our guests, Carey-Ann and Casey, for joining me today. How can any of the viewers get in touch with you if they want to discuss career opportunities?
So you can find us on our website at risiodental.com. There's a contact us form on there, and we will always respond.
Amazing. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Thank you. Thanks.